and so on and so forth. So let's talk about the hypothalamic and pituitary hormones. Okay, so hypothalamus actually controls development of the male's secondary sexual features. Okay, with development of the male secondary sexual features, the male body becomes a reproductively functional unit as a result of secondary sexual features being developed. Okay, so the gonadotropin releasing hormone, as you guys remember from endocrine, is released by the hypothalamus. Okay, in response to gonadotropin release, it's going to act on the anterior pituitary, which the anterior pituitary then will release the gonadotropin hormones, specifically LH and FSH. LH and FSH. Okay. Now, LH actually has another name. It's called interstitial cell stimulating hormone. These interstitial cells are actually found in the testes. And upon stimulation from the LH, in turn will secrete male sex hormones like testosterone. FSH will act on sustentaculars, which are also in the test. And I will the S in FSH and the S in sustentacular cells to remember that these two are related. So once that happens, it will cause maturation, proliferation. And by the way, these also are going to respond to the testosterone that's coming from this interstitial cells. Now, when there is and testosterone in the presence of FSH and testosterone, testicular cells will stimulate spermatogenesis in the spermatogenic cells. That's basically the process of maturation of the sperm. All of this is controlled through negative feedback mechanism. Okay. And testosterone. So too much testosterone will negatively inhibit further GnRH and LH secretion. This is very further testosterone will inhibit GnRH and LH secretion. Another hormone called inhibin, which is cells, these guys will inhibit FSH. Male sex hormones are also called androgens. Now, the interstitial cells located in the testes produce most of the male androgens. However, a small amount of testosterone is also produced in the adrenal cortex. Secretion of male sex hormones actually begins during development and continues and after birth. Then, after which secretion nearly good, and then it resumes again all throughout the male life. Actions of testosterone. And it depends on which stage of life we are in. Prior to birth, that is to stimulate development of the organs. And it also allows for the testes to descend into the scrotum. And failure of testes to descend into the and this will that's below and not at the optimum temperature for sperm production. Actions of testosterone during include enlarging of the testes, which is the primary sexual characteristic, and also accessory organs. Another important function is to develop the sexual features of the male. Okay? Which includes hair growth, enlargement of the larynx, thickening of the vocal cords, muscle growth, all that. Also, another thing, testosterone does, it actually increases rate of red blood cell production and cell metabolism. This is why a lot of anabolic steroids that have testosterone in them are used, because they increase cell metabolism and increase red blood cell production, which means more oxygen is delivered to the muscles. Okay. This is a drawing that shows us the regulation of the male sex hormones. Again, we start with the hypothalamus secreting GnRH that acts on the anterior pituitary gland, which in response will secrete FSH and LH. FSH will stimulate meiosis in the primary spermatocytes in order to form an immature sperm cell. Okay. In addition, FSH also stimulates secretion of the inhibin hormone that we talked about from the supporting cells. LH will act on the interstitial cells and tells them to secrete testosterone. Then this whole thing is negatively inhibited by the hormone inhibin and testosterone. Organs of the female reproductive system. First of all, what are the functions of the female reproductive system? To produce female sex cells, which are the eggs, more precisely known as the oocytes. Another function is to transport oocyte to the site of fertilization and to provide a favorable environment for the development of the offspring. Also, to transport the offspring outside of the body during childbirth and to produce the female sex hormones. Here, just like in the male, we have primary female sex organs and we have accessory or secondary female sex organs. The primary female sex organ, which is the gonad, is the ovaries. The accessory or secondary female sex organs includes internal reproductive organs and external reproductive organs. You guys hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. George, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So the ovaries and ovarian attachment. So the two ovaries, these are oval-like structures that lie in the lateral wall of the pelvic cavity. And it's supported by, the ovaries are supported in position by three ligaments. We have the broad ligament, which is the largest, suspensory, and the ovarian ligament. Okay? The three ligaments. So here we have the suspensory ligament, ovarian ligament,